Yeah. This is the Legacy League. Tell me where your legacy be. Yeah.
The theme song, we got action in Rhode Island for the Legacy Leagues. We're back. We're back, baby. We got some analysts standing by, Burke, Trent, and Aiden. 9 teams return in Rhode Island. They're all kind of returning teams, maybe a couple, new team names. 2 teams come back from the winter, so a year ago, and 7 teams, and there's some new players on these teams, but 7 teams return from the summer in Rhode Island. Really only one super close game, so that's how we're going to kick it off in a second. The Washed Up Boys and Gym Rats, a 2-point game and a very good game kind of throughout, which is a good sign for the league. We like when there's a lot of close games. Let's first shout out the sponsors, A1 and Lord's Army, actually a team from Massachusetts and a team in Connecticut. They're both clothing brands. Check them out. And Freedom Braids, we appreciate it. Check them out on Instagram, a good follow. And I just want to shout out some sponsors. We'll have other sponsors throughout the season. If you want to be a sponsor, let me know. But guys, let's get to that game. Washed Up Boys and the Gym Rats. It is, like I talked about, a 2-point win for the Washed Up Boys, who fell to the eventual champs in the semifinals. It was a close game by 1 or 2 points, a single possession in the summer. They come back and get back on the winning track, led by a couple familiar faces. Hendel Roll, 37. Kevin Gonzalez with 11. Leroy Brown, a quiet night. He had 10 rebounds. An all-star over the summer, Leroy Brown. So he plays his role and is a big part of that team as well. I don't want to tease too much because I want to let both of these guys who are seeing these teams for the first time, and then we have Aiden, who has seen some familiar faces as well. Let's go to Burke first on this one. How are the Washed Up Boys able to get the win?
Yeah, man. So they jumped out pretty early. I think at one point in the game, they were up 15 or so. They got closer at the end, but I think the main thing that helped them win is the amount of threes they shot. They shot 29 threes, which was more than anyone else in the league. So we'll see going forward if that's the recipe for success, if to be good in this league, if you got to shoot a lot of threes, or if it's going in the paint and dunking. But they looked really good out there.
It's funny that Burke says that. We had a team that made the finals in Rhode Island, the Game Breakers, shot a ton of threes, probably in the 40s just about every game over the summer. And they got out-physicaled by the Road Dogs, is the nicest way to put it, who also, a lot of teams shoot a lot of threes, but it was the Game Breakers, like barrage of threes, that really carried them. They were super talented as well, so they lost in the finals. So it's funny. I guess we'll see kind of how that plays out this year, right? And we'll get to the Road Dogs, the defending champs, who are back in a second. Trent, kind of touch on the Gym Rats a little bit. You can also, I know it's your first time seeing the Washed Up Boys, but again, how is this game able to be so close throughout?
So these are the games that the Legacy League lives for, man. You love these close, tight games. And even if in the beginning of the game they took advantage, but they came back and made it a fight, right? But one thing that stood out to me a lot was it's a 2-point game. And one of my coaches always says, free throws, free throws, free throws, 66, 68. And when you look at their free throw percentage, it's 80%, but they missed 2 free throws, meaning they could have potentially went to overtime or continue to keep playing the game. So I know they're going to look back at that. But another thing that I seen was 7 assists as a team is not going to get it done. You need a little bit more ball movement. You got to get the team, more teammates more involved. I think Gym Rats are going to be a tough team to compete against. And I think they're going to be a fun team going forward. So move the ball around a little bit more. I know, missing 2 free throws doesn't seem bad, but when you look at the end of the game, you lose by 2 points. That's how a lot of teams can look back like, if we made these, we win the game or go in OT and see what happens.
Speaking of the Gym Rats, they are led by Brandon Whitman, who returns, 34 points for him, so another pretty effective night as well. He kind of picks up where he left off and was nearly Rookie of the Year a year ago in the winter season, in his first season. So, these teams are also still trying to figure each other out. So I know the Gym Rats had a lot of new players. So did the Washed Up Boys. And we have to shout out Kay Harrison, who did the interview. And he was 4 of 15 and 3 of 11 from 3. But I'm sure those will continue to fall as well. Aiden, the Washed Up Boys, kind of one of these teams coming back. What'd you think about their Week 1 performance?
I think they played pretty well. Like we said before, They shot 29 threes, and I've been a part of the league for a couple of years. I've seen a lot of things, and like you said, with the Rhode Island Warriors or the Game Breakers last year, it's it's a league where you can live and die by the three, but you also need to have some sort of physicality aspect because if you're not going down there, scoring the tough twos, getting those dunks, getting rebounds, bodying people, you're not really gonna do too well. And like you said, Brandon Whitman, he kind of did a little bit of everything for the Gym Rats, and that's where the Gym Rats need some more help is ball movement and everything. I know we were talking about the washed up boys; they were doing fine too, ball movement fine, like you just said. Gay Harrison was 4 of 15. That's probably not going to happen that much. They shot 43% from the field, which is pretty good, but it's just kind of it's week one. Teams are still trying to figure each other out. You got some new players, you got some new pieces, and you just kind of have to play the way you want to play. And you can tell by looking at other games and other games that we've seen that players that have been here before, they kind of know how to play in the league. They know what to do. Threes can work, but you're not going to win just by threes. You have to have those tough battles in the paint and get those tough rebounds, those tough twos, and those tough layups.
For sure, and let's get to the first game, the next closest game of the night, as it is Lob City getting the win. And that game was a little wider of a margin than we'll talk about, but it is Lob City getting back on track after losing in the quarterfinals last season. Lob City, 81, the Air Mambas, two returning teams, 64. And like I talked about, even the Air Mambas kind of outscored them in the fourth quarter to make it a little closer than it was throughout, but it was kind of around a 20-point game in that second and third quarter, which Lob City in full control. We can kind of we'll move a little more quickly, especially with it being week one. But Trent, your first time seeing Lob City, they've won multiple championships in this league. They bring a lot of new players to their team as well, but the core is still there. Victor Cashew Jr., Almar Sabat, Cody Crawford, and we have to talk about Noah West, right, who had some insane dunks and led the team in scoring. But Trent, your first impressions of Lob City?
Yeah, man. The first thing that stands out to me right away is when you got 3 20-plus point scorers on your team, it feels like it's D-Wade, LeBron, and Boss days. Like, that's what you notice off rip. But another thing, second chance points. I mean, 8 offensive rebounds is definitely huge. The final score was 81-64. It's just hustling. Those second chance points always play key. Get a foul, get an extra point. And so, the team shot very, very good efficiency. Shot 59% from the field from Noah West, 84% from Victor, and 56% from, I believe his name is Elmar. So when you get those are your top three guys putting those much points up, but shooting efficiency, crashing the rebounds, they go out there and get the first week one victory. So those are the things that kind of stand out to me.
And for the Air Mambas, they are without two of their higher scoring players from last season. Mario Valerio led the way with 23, Luis Ramirez with 14, and Keon Lawrence with 12. So the Air Mambas battled Lob City to overtime, and again, two different teams last season, and tried to keep this one close as well. Lob City just does that was a pretty vintage Lob City game, right? Showing off their athleticism, the defense, the turnovers, the fast breaks, and it all kind of hits you so fast. It's never easy in week one to see Lob City, just because it's a very unique style that they continue to kind of bring back. Let's go with the defending champs. We'll go with them next. The Road Dogs take down the RI Warriors. All right, I was waiting for music. I guess not. No worries. Forget it. No transition. The Road Dogs 104, the RI Warriors 76. The Road Dogs with some new faces, Kevin Views being one of them, 20 points for him in his debut with the Road Dogs. Anthony Lyons with 19, Devon Bailey too, a new face, and Kareem Cooper with 16. So kind of some of their top scorers, but a really balanced team, kind of showing off that depth for the Road Dogs against the RI Warriors with Kevin Veter leading the way for them, but a lot of new players there. So Burke, kind of the defending champs, the Road Dogs. What'd you see and what'd you like from them in week one?
Yeah, I was sitting at the scorers table for this one, and I was sitting down, so maybe I might be off a little bit, but Road Dogs look like a tall team. They got a lot of height out there, and before I said, I was like, this team's just going to dominate in the paint. As they did, they shot 78% as a team. I mean, they have two guys that didn't miss a shot. You're not going to lose when you're shooting that well. RI Warriors too. They did really well. They kept it really close in the first quarter. they were actually up 2. I think the Road Dogs experience and coming off the championship last year really just, helped them win this first week.
And yeah, like you said, for the Road Dogs, their size, right, and their physicality, and you kind of saw it in little stretches there, how they kind of turned that up on defense, especially a little bit. So kind of, between Anthony Lyons, Kareem Cooper especially, who likes to kind of focus in on defense, Del Butler picking it up, and Shaq Ardrey, they got that length, they got that size, and when they can turn you over, then they get out in transition where they're super comfortable and can kind of use some of that athleticism, very similar to what Lob City does, right? In a kind of a different style, because no one's Lob City. That would be disrespectful to the, I think it's 8-time champs. There's so many, I lose count, yes. But, the Road Dogs, they're the defending champs for a reason. They beat Lob City, so it's not like they never played that team in the playoffs when they won. And, a big Week 1 win. They'll see if they can keep it rolling. And every team plays every team, which is cool. So we will get to see kind of how all of these teams match up against each other before some teams play for a second time in the playoffs. All right, let's see if my music or my transition is working better for the Cold Hearts, our last game of the night, taking care of the Muffin Tops. All right, it worked. We love it. Muffin Tops, 40, Cold Hearts 78, so a big win for the Cold Hearts, formerly All Talk Sports, but a lot of different faces there. I'll save Aiden for the end. Trent, we'll kind of throw it back to you. With this one and kind of the Cold Hearts and what they were able to do, led by Thomas DeAndrea and Justin Bianchi, actually 2 of their returning players with 27 and 26 respectively. But Trent, what'd you see?
First thing I noticed, it was a mismatch before the game even started with the Cold Hearts. The Cold Hearts you could tell they're lengthy. They got and they play as a team. You could tell like they know each other, and when you know each other, you have that chemistry already. And when you have the chemistry on the court, you're gonna do pretty well. But Thomas, I believe he was the one that was getting a lot of steals and a lot of dunks, pretty much the whole game. And, I said this before, having 2 20-plus scores is pretty electric, but you have somebody that shot had 15. They shot 15 points. They shot pretty good from the field, 62%. And another thing is they had.
Yeah, go ahead. Cool, keep going.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So I talk about this a lot. When you play a team basketball brand, you're going to win a lot of games. 18 assists as a team is pretty excellent, getting everybody involved. And they came out there and performed and showed why they're the better team, and they're going to, compete in the Legacy League. So shout out to the Cold Hearts, and definitely excited to see them forward, watching them forward.
Yeah, and again, we'll kind of see how they continue some of this depth, right? Carter Clifton with 15, he made an impact. And for the Muffin Tops, Frank Smith comes back with 13, Michael Berto as well with 10, and Matthew Dagnall with 9. So some of their players that are coming back continuing, and we'll see how this team continues to grow this season as well. Our one team we haven't talked about, the Halfway Crooks, the analysts will get to see them next week. It's the purple team. You get to see me take the court. That's why everyone's here, right? My team back again, and so we'll see. And every team gets a bye this season, so it's going to rotate. So we'll always have 4 games in our Rhode Island League. Let's do a little one-word game. We'll put them on the spot again. These two better use a different word from our other podcast we just did, so I'll make them pick a different word. Maybe a more positive word from both of them as well. They both went moderate. They both weren't. They can do better. They will pick better words, I promise. Aiden, putting you on the spot first. Your one word to describe Week 1 from what you saw.
Fast pace. 2 words, but very fast paced compared to other starts in the league. Every single team, they were running and gunning, and it slowed down for maybe a minute to 2 minutes max per game. A lot of words, but fast is my one word to describe this Rhode Island Week 1.
All right, and we'll see if that continues, right? I mean, that's kind of a trend we saw in Massachusetts. It's a theme throughout a lot of the leagues where we try to get that pace up. Let's get it on the record, guys. It will slow down in the playoffs, right? And so teams like to play that way, for sure. And it's so funny how in some of these closer games, you saw it a little bit with the Gym Rats and Washed Up Boys. They were getting the pace up there, right? And then kind of in that last couple minutes, it did slow down. Teams were having to execute, and you saw more kind of handle a role in the half court. You saw Brandon Whitman more in the half court trying to create against a more set defense, right? Just like real basketball. And even though it's 4-on-4, it's definitely harder to score against a set defense versus one that's kind of behind you, right, when you're in transition. All right, Burke, your one word.
Yeah, my one word is competitive. Maybe the scores don't suggest that all the games were competitive, but a lot of the teams were getting there well before their game started. Talking a little trash to the other teams that are on the court, like, "Oh, you guys are only up that much against them," So, yeah.
All right, we're already doing better. Some more, positive type words. I like it. Trent, what do you got?
Exciting. Um, I thought it was great. I got to see all four games. You get to see the good, top tier teams and maybe not so top tier, but you can see the difference and the levels of competition they bring into this league, man. So super excited and ready for week 2, man. So it was great.
All right, yeah, let's do it quickly. So week 2, the Halfway Crooks will debut against the Gym Rats, so that'll be a good game for both of those teams. I'm interested in that one. The Muffin Tops and Air Mambas kick it off, so we'll see both 0-1 teams who will get the win there. The Washed Up Boys and the RI Warriors, and again, the Warriors had the defending champs, so we'll see kind of how they fare against a 1-0 Washed Up Boys team. And then Lob City, to end it against the Cold Hearts, 2 of our 1-0 teams there. So we're going to learn about every team. Duh. That's how sports works, right? But especially with some of those matchups, kind of as things start to shake out. So, guys, Aiden, Trent, Burke, I'm Joey. Everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you guys on the podcast just stay on for 1 second after the call. I want to make sure Aiden doesn't leave me right away. But everybody, thanks for watching. And you can catch our top plays. You can catch our power rankings. We'll have pictures up over the weekend from the games. The live streams are up on YouTube. And more action Tuesday night from the Oakland Beach Boys and Girls Club in Warwick. So everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.